What do you think about Tyson? Tyson fighting Jake Paul.
I love Mike Tyson, and I'm not a fan of anybody fighting.
It's ridiculous. Dana White launches into furious rant on Jake Paul's postponed fight with Mike Tyson. Fucking ludicrous is how Dana White, the CEO of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, describes the battle between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, which was originally scheduled to take place in Texas, but has since been postponed. In her commentary, Dana White referred to the battle between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, a former heavyweight champion, as fucking ridiculous. The impending fight, which was supposed to take place in Texas the following month, was postponed after the 57-year-old fighter experienced a medical issue while traveling across the country. During an appearance on the Flagrant podcast, which was released on Wednesday, the UFC CEO shrugged off any thought that he was involved in organizing the highly anticipated Battle of the Week. When asked if he had anything to do with it, White responded negatively by saying, "God, no. When this bout takes place, Tyson will be 58 years old, which is a very early age. For crying out loud, a man who is approaching 60 years old shouldn't be fighting a guy who is 27 years old, irrespective of the circumstances. That is, even if it is Mike Tyson." And he continued by saying, "It's just fucking ridiculous." The controversial CEO continued by referring to Paul's fight against Tommy Fury, a former contestant on Love Island, which he lost in a split decision in February of earlier this year. "My biggest problem with the Jake Paul thing and how this plays out is that when he fought somebody who was a boxer, who had the same kind of record he has, who was his age, who is his size, he have fucking lost. I can't help but think about how this situation is unfolding. You mean to tell me that they are not going to take that fucking risking path again, right?" he asked. The previous week, Tyson was compelled to issue an apology to his supporters because he experienced a flare-up of an ulcer, which prompted his doctors to recommend that he postpone the fight until the fall. According to a statement that he released, he expressed his gratitude to his supporters all across the world for their support and understanding at this difficult time. "My body is in better general shape than it has been since the 1990s, and I will shortly be returning to my full training routine. I am excited about this. You may have been able to buy yourself some time with this, Jake Paul, but in the end, you will still be knocked out and out of boxing forever." Chris Mannix, a reporter for Sports Illustrated, stated that there is genuine concern over whether or not Tyson will ever be able to face Paul, even though organizers are taking into consideration two potential replacement dates in the middle of October and the middle of November. It is estimated that Mike Tyson is 57 years old, which is almost 58 years old. During an appearance on The Rich Eisen Show on Monday, Mannix stated, "They're saying it's a minor ulcer issue, but I don't think anything is minor at that stage of your life, especially when it comes to putting yourself in the proper shape to fight a professional boxing match." Mannix was referring to the fact that one of his opponents was suffering from a minor ulcer. After that, he continued by saying, "There is genuine concern from people that are also on the card. I mean, there are another number of fights that are also on the card. About this particular card moving forward, the possibility is not completely out of the question. However, it is important to note that there are individuals engaged who are expressing doubts about the likelihood of this particular conflict moving forward. It does not appear that Dana White, the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, is having a hard time sleeping because the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul has been postponed. Even though White is friends with Tyson, he has been critical of the boxing battle on multiple occasions. White's most recent outburst on the subject may be his most explosive one. "When this fight happens, Tyson will be 58 years old," White said on the Flagrant podcast on Wednesday. "It's going to be this fight. There is no need for a man who is approaching 60 years old to engage in combat with a man who is 27 years old, irrespective of the circumstances. Regardless of whether or not that is Mike Tyson, it is just ludicrous." The age difference between Tyson and Paul, which is 30 years, was emphasized by White. Even though Tyson will compete against Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition event in November 2020, he has not engaged in a professional fight since June 2005. Moreover, the UFC CEO voiced his disapproval of Paul's matchmaking. His stock was mostly increased by boxing UFC competitors who were either older, smaller, or lacking traditional boxing experience. This was the primary method by which the YouTuber turned professional boxer elevated his stock. White drew attention to Paul's defeat by Tommy Fury in February 2023 during a split decision. pointing out that Paul was unsuccessful when he faced an opponent who was comparable to him in terms of age and experience. My biggest problem with the Jake Paul thing and how this plays out is when he fought somebody who was a boxer, who had the same type of record he has, who was his age, who is his size. He effing lost. White stated in his interview. So they're never gonna go that thing route again, right? Even though Tyson versus Paul was supposed to be broadcast on Netflix on July 20, a medical emergency that occurred during the journey and was caused by an ulcer flare-up compelled all parties involved to postpone the fight. White ridiculed anyone who would be so naive as to pay for a battle between Paul and Tyson, but he praised the brilliant decision to stream the fight on Netflix, which is a service that approximately 270 million people subscribe to, according to Statista. If you can continue receiving payment, right? White stated that it should be done 100%. If you have people who are so stupid that they are willing to pay for such, then you are doing something that is, so fantastic for you. In addition, going to Netflix is a brilliant option because it eliminates the need for you to pay. Everyone has Netflix, which is hilarious. Turn it on, that's all. Oh, what the hell? I'm going to switch it on and make sure it works properly. I have no objections to it. I believe in Mike Tyson. Do you understand what I mean when I say that he is nearing 60 years old? Currently, my back is giving me a lot of trouble. Ending my life, I am completely clueless as to why. That must be because I am 54 years old. This individual, Paul, is 27 years old, and he is in the prime of his human life. This is insane. Although I have a lot of affection for Mike, nobody wants to see him get beaten up by this jerk off. There will be no boxing match between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson shortly because it has been postponed. A boxing battle between Paul, who was 27 years old at the time, and Tyson, who was 58 years old, was set to take place on Netflix on July 20, 2024. As of the 31st of May, it was disclosed that Tyson is experiencing an ulcer flare-up and will require further time to recuperate. The battle between Tyson and Paul will be rescheduled for later in the year, according to an announcement made by Netflix. At the same time, Tyson will be required to take a suspension from his training. In this difficult moment, I want to express my gratitude to all of my followers all over the world for their support and understanding. Unfortunately, because of the flare-up of my ulcer, my doctor has recommended that I reduce the intensity of my training for a few weeks so that I can rest and recover, Tyson said in an interview with Netflix. Did you like it? Tell us what you think of the video in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos.